Hello and welcome back to the Road to Good Cooking. Today I'm going to be doing a collaboration video with my buddy Lyle over at No Hippie Barbecue. Lyle turned me on to sous vide cooking a couple months ago and I fell in love with this method of cooking. And I tell you what, I'm sous vide everything. Anyway, today we're going to be doing two different versions of chicken. I'm going to be making my sous vide orange chicken, and I think Lyle is doing something more on the hot spicy side. So, being as I don't have my grill here, I'll have to finish mine off on my grill on my stovetop. And Lyle is going to finish his off on the outside grill. So you'll have two different ways how to finish off sous vide chicken. Now let me show you how I made my sous vide orange chicken. I will post a recipe at the end of this video, so don't worry about it. In this pot here, I added 1¼ cup of orange juice. I also added the juice from the large orange that I zested. I added some soy sauce, some rice vinegar, and brown sugar. And in the plate here, I have some roasted garlic. You can use fresh garlic if you like. The zest from the orange. I have zest from a small lemon. Some Chinese 5-spice, some Aleppo pepper flakes. You can use red pepper flakes if you wish, or just omit it if you don't want it too hot. I have some chopped scallions, and to thicken my sauce, I will be making a slurry of cornstarch and water. I'm going to let everything simmer till it gets nice and thick, and then set it aside until I'm ready to use it. Before I cook my orange chicken sauce, I'm going to take out probably about a ½ cup of it and add it to my chicken drumsticks here in my sous vide bag, and that's going to be the marinade for my chicken drumsticks. I decided to add a couple of the orange peel slices to my bag, and that's just going to fortify that orange citrus flavor to the chicken. And here's my chicken after I sealed the vacuum sealed bag, and I got a nice tight seal on it. It's going in the fridge overnight, and this is just going to really maximize that flavor. Here's my orange sauce after it's been simmering for a bit, and I'm going to add my cornstarch slurry. I apologize for my hand being in this shot, but I had no other way of getting this shot. I tell you, the creator struggle is real. And you can see the sauce is starting to thicken up a little bit. Now, I made this sauce last night, and if you have the time, I would highly recommend making your sauce the night before, because that'll give all those flavors chance to meld together, and the flavor is just going to be phenomenal tomorrow. And another thing too, once I get through sous videing my chicken, I'm going to have a lot of juice in that bag, so I'm going to pour some of that juice into the sauce, and that's just going to fortify that orange chicken flavor, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So make your sauce the night before, let it cool off, store it in the fridge, and the next day you will be so happy. You can thank me later. I'm preheating my sous vide stick, and I'm going to be running my temperature today at 167, and I'm going to cook my chicken for 3 hours. And that should cook them all the way through. And I put a weight on my chicken because sometimes the bags have a tendency to float, so this way it'll keep it submerged. And in 3 hours, lunch will be ready. I am 2 hours and 30 minutes into my sous vide cooking, and while I'm waiting for that last 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my vegetable fried rice. I will be using brown rice for this recipe, and I'm going to cook my brown rice according to the package instructions. And here's the rest of the ingredients that's going into my fried rice. And I'm going to go off camera, get everything sliced and diced up, and I'll be right back. While off camera, I went ahead and put my brown fried rice together, and that's going to have to be a whole nother video because the star of the show for this video is the orange chicken. So what I did, I just sauteed the onions first and then added everything else in layers, and this is what I ended up with. I didn't put a whole bunch of salt in there because I have hoisin sauce in there, and I will probably be seasoning it with soy sauce when I'm sitting down eating. So there you have it, and it is absolutely delish. I covered my pan with the lid, and I'm going to move on to my orange sauce. Here's my orange sauce. It's been sitting in the refrigerator overnight, and as you can see, it's a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to simmer it over low heat and let it loosen up a little bit, because I will be adding some of the sous vide chicken broth here shortly. I am preheating my grill pan over high heat and I'm going to heat it until it is just screaming hot. I oiled the bottom of the pan as well as the lid. My sous vide chicken is done, and as you can see, it created a ton of natural chicken broth here. And having made this recipe before, I can guarantee you that it is absolutely is super tasty. So what I'm doing here is cutting out the corner of the bag, and I have a strainer that I'm going to put into a container and pour the juice through the strainer. This will collect all the solids that I don't want in my orange sauce. And I'm probably going to end up with about maybe a cup, little over a cup of natural chicken broth. And like I said earlier, it is absolutely delicious. You can eat it all by itself. And here are the solids. I'm going to discard those. My sauce is ready to go. I removed my chicken legs from the sous vide bag and I'm going to pat them dry on both sides. I'm going to use my thermal pan and check the internal temp of my chicken legs, and as you can see, it's still not up to the temperature that it should be, which is between 165. I like to go even 170 to make sure that my chicken legs are done. Here I'm adding my chicken broth to my orange sauce, and I'm going to let it continue to simmer. I got my blower on because this thing is going to generate an awful lot of smoke, and I don't want to set off my smoke detector or the sprinkler system in this house. So anyway, but it's my grill pan is actually a panini pan, and you know what, it makes great panini sandwiches, and it also works for when I want to sear a piece of steak or some chicken in this case, and it just works just fine. Now I'm going to grill my chicken legs probably about 4 or 5 minutes per side, and then I'll take another internal read to make sure I have them at the temperature that I like for them to be done. And then it'll be time to dunk them in that awesome orange sauce. And then you know what time it is after that. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, and I'm going to flip over my chicken legs and look at the grill mark starting from the lid. And now that's why it's so important to warm the lid up inside the pan. Now I'm going to flip them over. I should have some nice charring going on here as well as some grill marks. And you ought to smell my kitchen. It smells absolutely divine in here. And I haven't set off the smoke alarm or the sprinkler system. My chicken legs are done, and all that's left is to slather them with some of this delicious orange sauce. And I mean, it is to die for good. And I'm going to let them sit and rest for a minute while I prepare my table for dinner. And if you'd like to have dinner with me, join me over at my Mukbang channel, where I will be sitting down and thoroughly enjoying this wonderful dinner. I will post a link to my Mukbang channel in the description box below. But in the meanwhile, here's a little teaser for you.